Okay, hey, hi, hello. I am so excited to film this video for you today. First of all, the fact that I can even make this video is really wild to me. Welcome to the new Chill Babe Candle Co. My name's Jordan and I am the creator and founder of Chill Babe Candle Co. Nice to have you here. If you didn't see the last video, I gave you a tour of my new shop and I will link that above somewhere up here. Feel free to go check that out. But today I want to talk about how I got into this position. Once I announced, I had a lot of you asking me how I made this happen. I mean, I have only been in business for a year and a half. How the hell do I have a store already? You know? Thought I'd film this video and kind of tell you how this happened, and maybe you could take these tips and make it happen for yourself. Okay, so let's get into it. First things first, how did I know that I was ready? Personally, having a business or having a shop is something that I've wanted, since I was a kid. I remember, gathering all my friends and I'd be like, let's sell things. I don't know, I just always wanted to make money by selling items that I made. So mentally, I think I was very, very ready for this. There is a lot to learn. There are a few legal things and insurance and all this other stuff that I don't really feel like anyone could really be that ready for, but you just learn as you go. The second reason why I knew I was ready was because I do really well at in-person events, like markets, selling my items, consignment in other shops, things like that. I've done quite a few markets in the past year and a half where I've had people come up to me and ask me oh, do you have a retail space? Because they weren't ready to buy yet and they didn't want to buy online because they wanted to smell things again. And after a while of people asking you, do you have a retail space? You start to think, maybe I should have a retail space. Okay, so once I figured out that I was ready to do this, the second thing I had to figure out was, where am I going to put my shop? And that's where renting a suite comes in handy. So living in a small town definitely has its negatives and positives, but one of the positives is that rent is not astronomical like in a big city. However, if I wanted a larger space around here, I would have had to buy an entire building. And while I have a lot of confidence in myself and my business, I definitely know that I am not at that stage yet. Instead, I decided it would be better if I started small and work my way up. So luckily for me and the other business owners in this building, we have a place called Union Block Suites. And what it is, it's a building that happens to be on our main street that has been renovated to have little suites. I believe there's about 8 suites in this building, and one of them just happens to be mine. And there are pros and cons to renting a suite. However, the pros definitely outweigh the cons. By renting a suite, I'm only in charge of this one room. I don't have to think about renovations. I don't have to think about paying bills other than my rent. And I don't have to think about any of the maintenance that comes with owning your own building. All I have to think about is this room, is it clean? We have some shared common spaces that obviously all of us chip in to make sure that, they stay clean and everything, but I mean, compared to actual building maintenance, that's a piece of cake. Once I figured out where I was going to have my store, I had to figure out how I was going to make that happen financially. And I found that the best way to do that is to diversify your income. And what I mean by that is when I started my business, I started selling in a place called Waverly Market. So I had my online sales, I had market sales that I would do at pop-up markets, but then I had sales from this place called Waverly Market. And for the first year or so of my business, I was paying a monthly fee to have my booth set up there every day, all month, and all I had to do was be there 2 weekends a month. On top of my monthly fee, they would also charge me 10% in commission because since I wasn't there every day, if they were to sell one of my items, obviously they should be getting a commission. But once I realized that I wanted my own store, I started to realize that maybe financially having a booth there was not in my best interest. But luckily, They also have a deal where you can leave your items there and they sell consignment for you for a larger commission. And since I was going to be opening my own store and I couldn't be there to sell my items, this just seemed like the best idea. And once I realized that I could be selling my candles in 2 different places in 2 different towns, I realized that anything I made from Waverly Market could go towards my monthly rent in my shop, which means I would have some sort of cushion for when I opened. And I know this was a great idea because last month in February, my check from them almost covered my entire rent here. So diversify your income, people. So if you're not selling consignment already, I highly suggest going to any local boutiques, maybe some boutiques in a different town or a different city, and asking if, maybe they would like to sell your items for a percentage, which means at the end of the day, your money is working for you. Another thing that helped me get my shop is a business grant. Cities and towns love to have new businesses move in. In my case, I've moved in on Main Street, which I'm not gonna lie, for a long time has been pretty dead. Like there haven't really been that many businesses here. So in order to bring more businesses onto Main Street, our Economic Development Board is very willing to help out small businesses financially. This help can look like anything from helping to furnish your new store to even paying a couple months worth of rent, which is a win-win situation for everybody because they help small businesses move in, the small businesses help the town or city economy. And the way that they agreed to help me is that they agreed to pay a certain amount months in rent, which for a small business such as myself, not having to worry about rent for your first few months is a godsend. It really allows you to put time and effort into getting your feet off the ground without that burden of how am I going to make this work? Another thing that helped me get my shop are loans. And I know that loans can seem scary because you have to pay that money back. However, as someone who hosts their website on Shopify, Shopify makes this really easy and not scary at all. Oh, and just so you know, this video is not sponsored by Shopify. This is just a feature that they have that I absolutely adore and has saved my butt countless times. But if you're interested in using Shopify, I do have a link down in the description. Shopify Capital makes borrowing money way less scary than borrowing from a bank. So with a bank, you would say borrow $500. Then every month they would charge you interest until it's paid off, which say it takes you a year to pay that off. Every month you're paying an interest fee. What's great about Shopify Capital is that say you borrow $500 from them, they will tell you up front what your interest is. So for $500, I think it's like $65. So in total, you will be paying back $565. The best part is that that interest is fixed. It doesn't matter how many months it takes you to pay it off. You will only have to pay off $565 or whatever the amount borrowed plus the interest is. And they tell you all of this up front. Once you get the money, with every sale that you make, they will take 17% of that sale until it's all paid off. So say you pay it off in 2 months, you paid back $565. If it takes you a year to pay it off, you're still only paying back $565. But this is a much easier way to borrow money and not feel that pressure to, oh my God, I have to pay this back as soon as possible. Otherwise, I'm going to owe so much more money. Did I explain that correctly? Do you understand what I am saying? I'm not really sure if that made sense, but if you are already signed up with Shopify, go check out Shopify Capital, see if you can apply. If you're not set up with Shopify, then this isn't gonna work for you, because they only lend out money for their own users. So yeah, this is how I got my store. I hope you found this video helpful. I am very aware that I tend to ramble, so hopefully all of this made sense. And yeah, again, I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for watching my videos. I want to thank you for subscribing. If you're not a subscriber already, feel free to hit subscribe wherever it may be. And yeah, that's it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.